the channel. Today is the 16th of June, Wednesday, 2021, and this is the Flight Sim News. So doing something a little different today, I thought I would start out the Flight Sim News with my first impressions of the Mi-24. So I've just got done doing the update to the open beta version, which included a ton of stuff, more than just the Mi-24 was released today. But I wanted to jump in and just see what the Hind was like. So I jumped online. I think I paid my $55 or whatever it is. I think it's down to 20% off. I swear it was 30% off before they released it. So my bad for missing out on that extra 10%. But I did jump in and do my part and picked it up for 20% off, which is still a pretty good deal. And let's jump in and see what the options are. So if we go to instant action for the Caucasus map, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 missions. Nevada, nothing. Normandy, nothing. Persian Gulf, we've got 3 missions. Moonlight Flight, Persian Gulf Free Flight, and Disaster Relief Defense. And then Syria, you've got 4 missions. Syria Free Flight, Border Patrol, Weapons Range, H4 Takedown. And then Channel Map has nothing. Let's jump into Syria and try out the Syria Free Flight. Wow, this looks pretty cool. It's been a minute since I've been in DCS, that's for sure. Let's see if my controls are set up without having to modify anything. This thing looks pretty insane. Really nice imagery in the cockpit. Wow. There we go. I have an Xbox controller plugged in at the same time as my flight gear for playing other games and completely forgot about it, so it was really throwing off my controls. I think I still need to reverse my collective. But so far it looks pretty freaking cool. I'm definitely going to have some fun with this. Looks like we got some bombed out buildings down there. Amazing cockpit detail too. But again, I expected no less. I'm definitely going to have to do a lot of learning with this guy. So let's jump back and take a look at what else you get. Alright, and then if we look under missions, I'm not seeing anything. So this is really early. They don't have any missions, just those instant action missions. Let's take a look if they have a campaign yet. And that's a negative. So, no campaign, no missions, just what they have in instant action. And then let's set the wallpaper. And that's what the wallpaper you get. Pretty cool little, almost sounds like Arabic music, not necessarily Russian, but whatever, right? It is early access. So, alright, let's take a look at what the rest of this update brings to the table. Also part of this major update today that includes the Hind for 2.7 open beta is a pretty large update from Heatblur for the F-14. They go on to say, hey everyone, having just wrapped up work on the major F-14 update launching today, we figured we'd give you a quick rundown of what's included and where our next priorities lie within regards to the F-14. For this update, we focus greatly on improved carrier physics through a new mass dynamics physics engine driving the hook, simulating the carrier burble, as well as other improvements across the jet, bringing the F-14 one step closer to an exit out of early access. With the completion of testing and shipping cycle for this particular patch, we now turn our attention to more improvements and additions such as Jester, Lantern, and Forge, as well as the completion of launch of the Forrestal class carriers, which will fill out our next major F-14 release. And then they go on to show a pretty cool video showing the hook in action, and they go into detail talking about the new hook physics and mass dynamic systems. Then they go on to talk about the carrier burble, and then some of the cool things I thought was neat was Iceman, Orbit, and Fly to Waypoint. In order to bridge the gap before we ship Jester Lantern and make flying Rio in single player a much more realistic endeavor, we've implemented two major new additions to Iceman, our pilot AI. These two features are flying to a waypoint and orbiting a waypoint. You can now tell Iceman to fly to a waypoint entering into the navigation system or any point defined on the F10 map. You can also ask Iceman to orbit a waypoint and can select between a variety of diameter and speed combinations. You can also select right-handed or left-handed for orbits in order to allow you to effectively use the lantern targeting pod from the rear seat. Iceman can fluidly switch from one orbit to another orbit, i.e. moving into a closer orbit or change direction at any given time if asked. Iceman was generally built in a stopgap way, and we will in the future look at more ways to improve and add more functionality to this part of the F-14, especially as we continue development of the A6 and others and require more investment into AI technologies. Next, they go on to talk about Jester reporting improvements. They go on to say, we endeavor to improve Jester in many areas, especially as we continue to process your feedback on what can be done better and what frustrates those of you flying single seat most. Improving Jester's reporting of ongoing combat is one of our highest priorities, and we're rolling out some initial improvements in this area with this patch. We've significantly tweaked how Jester perceives the threat of missiles and speed and visual acuity of his detection of missiles. Jester should now remain far more calm in combat environments with regards to missiles that do not concern your aircraft, especially those fired in ground-to-ground engagements. Furthermore, Jester's visual acuity and speed of detection should now be more realistic. We continue to improve Jester over the coming months across all areas. Some of these include new features, e.g. lantern and checklist reading, but we also endeavor to improve Jester's radar and other competencies. And then they go on to talk about night catapult signalization, Max 79 bomb clamp models, float be gone, autopilot logic overhaul. And here is the full change log, and it is rather long. I'm not going to even begin to sit here and try to read it, but as you look at this list, it is rather lengthy, and it looks to include a ton of fixes and improvements and tweaks to make the F-14 that much better. And then they go on to end it with, as noted in the lead-in, we're now continuing work on the next major update to the F-14, focused greatly on further aircraft improvements, changes to the AIM-54, and further feature additions such as Jester Lantern. This is all wrapped in the major task that is completing the final Forrestal class art overhaul and releasing the first version of that to you all. Stay tuned for more updates on these items as soon as we blaze ahead and start hitting early access completion milestones. We greatly hope you enjoy experiencing this latest update to the F-14. Thank you, as always, for your amazing support. Sincerely, the team at Heatblur. That is fantastic news, and everybody knows how I love the F-14, so anything to improvement and make it better is all good to me. I will throw a link to this in the video description as usual, so you can check it out for yourself. So this was an image that was on Discord earlier today, and it goes to talk about what was included in the latest 2.7 open beta update, and I'm not going to find the change log and go through it because it's going to take me all day. But as you can see, Kate Paraderco is the COO of Eagle Dynamics, and she had posted that you will get today behind a new F-14 campaign that's not on Steam yet. I'm guessing that means Reflected Simulations Through the Bones was released. Don't quote me on that just yet. By the end of the video, I will find out for sure. The F-14 Breathtaking update, and that was what we were just covering. An AV-8B update, a Mirage 2000C update, a C-101 update, Hornet, Viper, Supercarrier updates, and World War II aircraft updates. And then they go on to say something about some other points, including DCS World in general. Very cool stuff. I'll throw a link to this in the video description so you can check it out for yourself. All right, I found this over at PC Gamer. A couple updates over the past week because of E3. One of which is that the Xbox and Series X and S are both going to get Microsoft Flight Simulator pretty soon, and it will be included with Game Pass, which is fantastic. But also, their Microsoft Flight Simulator is getting free Top Gun DLC this year. It says to tie in with the new Top Gun Maverick movie. And then they show a little video here of a trailer with the Xbox Series X and S. And it goes on to say, Microsoft Flight Simulator is feeling the need for speed. Yep, the massive virtual pilot sim is getting a bunch of Top Gun content with a free expansion later this year. Tying in with the new Top Gun movie coming out this fall, Xbox followed up news of a new console port with a quick tease featuring a whole lot of expensive warplanes whizzing around. It looks like you'll be playing them as themed pilots with a whole hangar full of military aircraft to take to the skies. Reckon you're hot stuff at landing. It also seems you'll be able to take off and land on aircraft carriers at sea, putting your touchdowns to the ultimate test. The only thing missing are high-stakes dogfights. Sorry, hotshot, this is Microsoft Flight Simulator, not Ace Combat. So that is fantastic news. I will throw a link to this PC Gamer article in the video description as usual, and you can check it out for yourself, along with the video that they have linked there as well. All right, and lastly is Team Fusion Simulations. About 11 hours ago posted this. It's a new developer diary for June 2021. It looks like they have a whole lot of stuff they're going to be adding and tweaking and fixing. So if you do have Cliffs of Dover, Desert Wings to Brook, it looks like it's going to be getting better. They go on to talk about first an update on True Sky and VR. While we don't have any images to show you yet, and work is being affected by the ongoing global pandemic, substantial progress has been made on these two major updates. We now have a test version of the game that runs with both True Sky and VR, enabling our teams to work towards refining these upgrades for public release. This is huge news for many in the community who cannot wait to see what True Sky offers, and in particular to VR players who cannot wait to fly in the Battle of Britain and get some virtual hot sand in their eyes flying in the Desert Air War, all in virtual reality. That is fantastic news. So Desert Wings to Brook and Cliffs of Dover is actually going to be getting VR. They don't talk about when, but that is fantastic news. Then they go on to talk about a bunch of little updates and tweaks they're doing to some of the missions, and then some of the Desert Wings to Brook missions, and then what else? More mission updates, campaign updates, improved AI, and then they talk about the Air Combat Group recently began their new Tobruk multiplayer campaign from Battle Axe to Crusader, etc., etc. And there's a couple of videos in here that you can check out, but the one that sticks out the most to me is True Sky and VR coming to Cliffs of Dover and Desert Wings to Brook. That is absolutely fantastic news. I think that's going to add a ton of value to that product, because I think that is one thing that has turned a lot of people off from it, because you can go to great battles and you have VR. In the older Cliffs of Dover code, it just didn't support that, and it's fantastic to see that they're able to retrofit that and make that work. So I will be following this to see how this goes, and I will definitely keep you guys posted on that front. So that is it for the Flight Sim news for today, guys. So I hope you're out there enjoying the Hind. I think probably nobody's going to watch this because they're going to be out there flying the Hind and trying to download the updates. But, you know, it's a good day for helicopter enthusiasts, that's for sure. It looks like I got to set up all my controls, but all my basics are working, which is pretty cool. In a few minutes that I jumped in there and flew it, it definitely feels pretty good. It feels pretty fun, and I have a feeling I'm really going to enjoy this. So I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I'm going to. And that is it for today's Flight Sim news. As always, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Feel free to hit that like button. And until next time, guys.